Hello.
Hello.
And welcome to
Instant Finish.
Yep, so we have literally instantly finished listening to the latest Sixth Doctor adventure story.
Oh, Colin.
The Cosmos and Mrs. Clarke.
That's right. There's a lot of Cosmos in there. And there's plenty of Mrs. Clarke as well.
Yeah, so we have 3 two-part stories starring Colin Baker and Miranda Raisin.
Yeah. What do you think about that choice then, to do a set with Constance?
I don't know. I like Constance. She might not be my number one out of... I mean, Colin Baker's had so many different companions, hasn't he? The Sixth Doctor.
All the best as well.
I mean, obviously, we're all holding out for a return of Flip at some point, because I think that it works best with Constance and Flip.
They're a good contrast against each other,
For the moment. I mean, this was recorded in 2021, ages ago, wasn't it?
He does sound younger in this set.
Yeah. And the last one we did, Trials of a Time Lord, I think that was universally...
No,
disliked.
It was disliked by you and a few people.
No, a lot of people didn't like it.
Universally disliked.
But knowing that Jacqueline Rayner is producing this particular box set, we knew that it was going to be brilliant.
Do you know what this set had that I've realised, I said, what this set had that the Trials of a Time Lord didn't have? There's an emotional through line with all 3 stories in really different ways. They made me feel something very different. But Trials of a Time Lord didn't make me feel anything. No. There was no real character journeys.
We actually have stories here.
There was no substance. and there was a moment in each of these stories as well where the director and the sound designer could do something really unusual. Well, we'll get there.
Okay, well, let's start with the first one. The Story Demon by Julian Richards.
Yeah. Your favourite, a Dalek story?
Well, that's the thing. When this comes out... and we see the cover and everything, there's Dalek on the cover. So I'm like, whenever Big Finish are like, there's a new box set, I'm like, I love the Big Finish news, okay? It's like my number one news.
Genuinely.
Like, whenever I get more excited, rather than the current TV series. He
doesn't give a shit about
actual real life news, anything. It's the Big Finish news I want to know.
Around the house going, my God,
whenever they announce something.
Woo!
But whenever there's a Dalek involved, my heart sinks a little, because I think I've said on before, the Daleks are just being done in Big Finish and TV. What else can you do with the Dalek? So,
and it does fall in one of your 2 categories.
I was going in apprehensively. I was like, what is going to be going on here?
2 categories. One is Daleks are evil and killing everyone, or 2 is
something quirky is going on with the
Dalek in an unusual position. Yeah, so I am your servant. It's definitely the latter.
Yes.
Here. But very well
actually,
done.
I'm always willing to be proved wrong on this. I did enjoy this one.
I did too.
How would you describe it though?
So it sets up basically there's a Dalek without the mutant in it that this colony has hooked up and is telling stories.
So it's a crashed Dalek spaceship on this colony, and
a colony made out of crashed spaceships.
Yeah, and they found this Dalek, so it is the Story Demon, basically. Yeah. Oh shit, we should say that there's spoilers in this review today. Sorry, everyone.
We always talk about the
watch it on YouTube, pause your podcast, do whatever. We're just a bit late now, but anyway,
did I mention there was a Dalek in this?
Well, we know there's a Dalek in it, but anyway,
it's on the cover.
It's the Story Demon. So what it is, it's a Dalek, and this whole generation of this colony has been brought up by listening to the Dalek telling like fairy stories and stuff, because they plugged in basically Audible to the Dalek and that they listen to everything basically, which is a great idea.
No, I don't want Nick Briggs reading a load of stories to me, thank you.
The real Dalek mutant is out and about killing people.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah, I mean, it did give Briggs a chance to do the Daleks in, another way.
He always does it, though. He's done it a million times.
It was quite nice, though, because he brought the Dalek down to a soft voice, reading out the stories, which was quirky and a bit different.
Right, it just sounds like Nick Briggs with a slight bit of...
What was great was the trap, right? So the Dalek... He can't go in. I can't remember why he can't go into the shell, but he can't. So he wants to trap somebody inside the Dalek shell, and then that Dalek will then go off and murder everybody in the colony. And this poor bloke, my God, you're in there with him. He's screaming his head off, saying, "Let me out! Let me out!"
That was my favourite part.
Oh, it was so good. It was so immersive, that scene.
A bit like, when Clara went inside the Dalek in that.
Better than that.
Claustrophobic,
it was more,
you just really felt it when he went in, because he didn't know what he was doing. He gets in there and he's accidentally killing. He can't
Yeah, it
control
was
it,
so
and you just
great.
hear him inside being really like scared and traumatized by. That was a surprise, actually.
The wonderful thing was when he said, "I love you" to somebody that he loves, and it comes out the Dalek's voice, "Exterminate,"
Yeah.
and he kills him
So-
because the Daleks don't understand love.
Yeah.
Oh man, chilling.
Really, really great. I'm really surprised, actually, about. I had no idea where this was going to go.
I don't know.
And
Well, and then you've got
even
the-
from part 1 to part 2, it's slightly, you know,
You've
what
got
is
the
happening?
mutants to deal with as well.
Yeah, which is very apocalypse element with the sort of flying mutants and stuff. It had
It's good sound
elements of
design
the
again, though.
apocalypse element.
Good sound design here. And an ingenious solution from Colin's Doctor, because there's this race of monsters that aren't monsters that are protecting people, and he uses it to literally tear the mutant apart. It's so great. Yeah, really dramatic. A good sci-fi story, a good punchy start to the set, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
really
my
great.
favourite bit was when he goes to the Dalek. Why did you trap him in there? Why did you do that? And he just goes, the Dalek just goes, because I could. Oh my God, evil.
Yeah. So the Daleks are bad. It's not just being quirky, weird Dalek for no reason.
I wouldn't want it as a 2 hour, but as at an hour.
This was two
was
half-an-hour episodes.
Yeah.
Brilliant way.
Perfect.
Brilliant way to spend your hour. Anyway,
However,
next we have
oh boy,
The Key to Many Worlds by Paul Mars. So this features Irish Wildthyme, played by Katie Manning, and Marco Polo, played by Terry Malloy. So were we expecting a bit of a sequel to Marco Polo in this day and age?
No, I'm so
especially
glad
with
we got
Irish
it.
Wildthyme and
I'm
Constance
so
and the Doctor.
pleased we got it. This was a delight from beginning to end. I fucking love this.
So it's got, obviously with Irish Wildthyme and Paul Mars writing, we're going to have that quirkiness, that silliness, that entertainment. Obviously, all of that is there in the story. But also the sort of heartfelt stuff with Marco Polo as well.
Yeah.
And the sort of clash of those two. Because it's like sort of,
cool
Freaky Friday body swap sort of story.
Oh,
but within the historical Marco Polo sort of context as well. So what a mashup.
You would think that Marco Polo's voyage home to Venice crossed with the Doctor and Iris body swap wouldn't work at all. No. It's just great, and primarily because of the performances. Colin is having the best time of his life playing Iris, and I figured it was just going to be somewhere in the stratosphere. Actually, it was just like Katie Manning plays it, maybe down a little bit, but you were chuckling your head off at the lines. Yeah. He calls Constance boring at one point.
Yeah, there's some great lines in it.
Oh, you're very serious, lovey.
And also some like telling lines as well. So Terry Malloy plays an older Marco Polo, obviously right at the end of his, obviously after all his travels and everything. So he's an old man meeting the Doctor again. And, and things like, you have his journal bits again, which is quite nice. But there's those lines, like where Marco Polo's like, I feel like there's parts of my life missing, missing episodes sort of
no, he literally goes,
references and stuff.
Say, I have missing episodes.
Yeah, stuff like that. Obviously quite, that's in there.
Marco was gay as well.
Well, yes.
Marco Polo gay?
Well, probably. I thought that was Alexander the Great. Maybe they all were.
But Anthony Townsend, who we have very sadly lost, gave a wonderful turn as Tonio, as his partner in this. And it's sort of subtly done, isn't it? Although when the Doctor,
say anything.
No, the Doctor, as Iris, goes, "Oh, shut your boyfriend up." But I've got to say as well, I thought the whole thing about Marco going home and there being no fanfare at all, and then in a beautiful sequence, in a night, he describes it as, doesn't he? The Doctor takes Marco to various points of his life to explain that the journey of his life is far more important than the fanfare he receives when he comes home. That's a good message to have, right?
Yeah.
If you don't get a reward at the end, just live the best life you have. That was the emotional through line here.
That was brilliant. And to have that sort of, caravan procession as well. But obviously they're towing Iris's bus and stuff in it. It's just, that mashup is just
imagine
genius.
For a moment, because at one point there's pirates come on the ship and you've got Iris Wildthyme, as played by Colin Baker, beating the shit out of the pirates. It's so funny. I thought the music, the sound design and the direction were bang on in this as well. Overall in this set, but especially in this story. Yeah. And at the end, like, they're all trying to convince the Doctor to go to this grand ball in Venice, and we're all off to a party. It's just like feel good and lovely, this story.
This box set is worth it for this one alone.
This was the standout of the three. Yeah, although they're all strong.
They're all brilliant, yeah. Well, the next one then is Inconstancy by Ian Potter.
He's making up for that dreadful Susan one from the Companion Chronicles we had last time.
So this one, Doctor and Constance on our alien planet.
That's right. The planet Hoy.
The thing that stands out for me on this one is the narrative structure. So it's the Doctor meeting somebody after the fact, telling them the story back, and then Constance somewhere else meeting someone, telling the story, and they sort of overlap. So the Doctor's like, this is happening to me, and Constance is, this is what's going on with me, and they sort of intertwine, don't they? And you go back and forth, which
apart
is really
from
quite clever.
A few Companion Chronicles, the Suffering with Vicky and Stephen. Apart from that, I can't remember a time when a story's been structured this way, and given how much prestigious,
it's a great way of doing
prestigious, prolific output Big Finish have done. That's quite surprising.
So on this alien planet, there's some strange. So this thing happens to Constance, where basically these sort of
it was so great.
I don't know. I can't remember what they're called now.
They're basically the slaves.
I imagine sort of like jelly baby things.
Yeah, that's sort of how
they are. Take on Constance's form. So there's lots of growing Constances at this sort of slave army.
I did say there was a chance
it's a really weird one.
Unusual sound design, and when all these weird jelly babies of Constance are growing, it sounds absolutely bizarre, but in a really interesting way. And it gives Miranda Raisin, who usually has to play, clipped and upper crust and very serious, she gets to play all of these different versions of Constance, which, there's a great bit where they're going through the streets and these Constance, the slaves are revolting, all the Constances. Constance? Is that her name? All the Constances are revolting, and they're surrounding her, and you can hear them going, man the battle, da, da, da. Like on an oral level, it was superb. I thought this.
It's my least favourite of the set, only because of the setting. It's a bit like
this is my second
like
favourite.
The Susan one in the Companion Chronicles we listened to. It's that sort of difficult to sort of imagine. It's sort of out there. The sort of sci-fi ones, it's just not what I personally always enjoy. But it was still a great story. It
was superb.
And I think the structure was great. And actually, this box set, I don't know who names these box sets, but they're not the best. What we had, the Doctor and Carnacki,
well, they are
and Mrs. Clarke.
Yeah,
all of these stories sort of have a line of sort of storytelling, throughout them, which I think you could have called it something like the story, I don't know, some kind of storyteller box set would have been more of an umbrella title.
Actually, that would have been good. Story Demon. The second one's about telling stories.
And then you've got Marco Polo's story of his life and everything. And then the
they're
last
telling
one, the way that they're telling the stories. So I don't know if anybody had that in in the concept meeting for this, and then someone went, no, it's got Miss Clarke in it, we'll call it the Cosmos and Miss Clarke.
There was a conversation between the Doctor and Claudia. We don't get enough villains called Claudia, right? No, and may I say, whoever that actress was playing Claudia, you were fabulous. I could just imagine you there with your hands on your hips in a very camp way. You were glorious. But there was a conversation about slavery, which could have been really old hat. We've done this. We did this in bloody Terror of the Vervoids, But actually, Colin got another chance to do that sort of moral outrage that he does so well. And the debate, she doesn't back down. And so the debate is really interesting. That was the sort of emotional through line there. And what I really liked at the end of the story, they actually go to the house of somebody after the place is just left in rubble, and the people and the slaves have got to figure out a way to live together. The Doctor literally goes to somebody's house and says, look, talk to this person, see if you can make this work. And she's there, Claudia going, no, it's never going to work. But it's like the opposite of Avengers of Aros, where they just go, oh, well, good luck, goodbye. He actually stops and makes sure that the society's got a chance. I really like this.
I really like all three. There's a great variety of stories throughout. You go through all different places.
Colin was on different.
It's just a great collection of stories.
Yeah. It's
More of this. This is what we want.
There's no link between them, and that's
No,
quite
it doesn't
nice
have to be.
to have
No, that doesn't
three
have to be. But
separate
it's
stories.
just, yeah.
But we're relieved because after Trials of Time Lord, which
I
you
know.
hated and I was,
Well, Jacqueline Rayner's back.
keen
That's
on,
why she didn't do Trials of the Time Lord.
this is bang on.
Trials of the Time Lord was like, shit, we need to celebrate again after Quinn Dilemma. Let's do another box set for no reason.
She even said, didn't she? Why would I do another one? I've already done it.
Yeah.
Do you remember what we said?
Yeah.
Cut it in half, Big
Cut
Finish.
it in half.
Cut it in half.
Cut it in
But
half.
don't cut Jacqueline Rayner's output in half.
No.
Double
No.
it.
Put to the next one, whatever the next one is. Another
August,
success.
isn't it?
Hopefully in August we'll know.
Yeah. What absolutely stood out though, can I just say a quick word for Samuel Clements' direction of these three stories? Very different in tone and just superb, each and every one. I was very mean about Samuel Clements on his first trilogy, the Mags trilogy, way back in the day. I mean, they were terrible. They were terrible scripts as well. But fuck me, has he come on? Like this, like when I say there were some things that you've never heard in a Big Finish, the guy in the Dalek, you know, the voyage on the ship, the transmogrification of the Iris and the Doctor, and the Constances being born. There was some seriously good audio work done here. Like good, what am I trying to say? Unique things in my ears.
Samuel Clements, we love your oral.
What's happened to you?
That's what you're trying to say.
No, really strong set.
Yes, yep. So give it a listen. And in the meantime, don't forget to
finish
big instantly.